This is a musical based on Anne of Green Gables, written by L. Maud Montgomery in 1908, and the last 3 chapters of Anne of the Island in 1916. We have approached it from a point of view of an old Anne who is writing her memoirs. And she is on stage throughout the performance. She's doing interludes, she's writing, she's talking, and we call it Memoirs of Anne.
There's a place in my heart where few enter in. It's a place that takes me back in memory. And I still see her face gazing through the window, waiting softly for me to come home, softly for me to come home, softly for me to come home again. All my childhood had been so sad. I was alone as a baby, never part of a family. I had no place, just misery. To those I love, to those I treasure, this is my story. Mrs. Hammond. Mister's dead, died this morning. Since he's gone, you'll be going. Now your new home, lazy one. Now your new home, worthless one. Now your new home, crazy one, will be the orphanage. Old Anne. my heart hurt so bad on the day I arrived, and I thought there was no scope to imagine. But then Katie Maurice came into my mirror and invited me to come and enter in. Matrons. Anne Shirley, what's wrong with you? You always dream. Are you crazy? You must live in reality, but there's a chance, opportunity for a family. There's a call for a young lady to be sent to P.E. Island. And my first thought was of you. If you work hard, you might do. May the sun shine on your life anew. Matthew Cuthbert in his buggy heading to the train station to pick up an orphan they've adopted. And Mrs. Rachel Lynn, the nosy neighbor, sees him. Where is Matthew going? Where could he be going? He's dressed up in his Sunday suit of clothes. Oh, mystery, it's 3:30. His Sunday clothes, and there he goes. Where to, who knows? Well, I know who knows where he's going. Marilla. And I'm going to march right over there and ask her. Matthew should be at his plow. Why would he leave it just now? That man's so shy he doesn't go anywhere. So something big is at stake, and what I've seen's no mistake. I have to know why he's going and where. And I won't rest till I know what she knows. So she walks over to Marilla's, knocks on the door, and says, "Oh, dear Marilla, my dear Marilla, why is your table set for 3? Could it be you saw me coming just in time for tea?" Marilla, "No, I didn't see you coming, but I can guess why you're here." Oh, Marilla, what do you say? You saw Matthew in the buggy, dressed in Sunday clothes, and wondered, oh, why? Oh, Marilla, what do you say? Was he going for the doctor? Was he ailing? Did he need special care? Dear Marilla, what do you say? You have probably imagined why he'd take off in the prime of the day. Is something wrong? What do you say? Well, now Matthew's getting older. He's not as spry as he used to be. Matthew's 60, he's ailing some. It's so hard to find good helpers and train them into how they should be. Once you've trained them, they're up and gone. Lots of folks are taking orphans, schooling them to toil in the soil. I'm telling you, we're getting one too. Rachel, oh, well, my dear, you're in great danger. It's a risky road to tread. You have no clues to who they are. They could kill you in your bed. Well, just last week I read the paper. A couple brought an orphan home. He set fire to their hearth and home. Burnt them crisp, they almost died. And I heard another case about an orphan boy who poisoned all their wells. So last week you read the paper. A man and wife up west of the aisle fetched an orphan and brought him home. Say he set fire to the house on purpose, burning them from hearth and from home. Burnt them crispy, they almost died. And you heard another case about an orphan girl who poisoned a well. The family died. No one survived. None left alive. Everyone died. Well, I thank the good Lord that at least we didn't order a girl. Now, Matthew has reached the train station. The only person there is a very skinny, scrawny
pathetic-looking little girl who's sitting in front of the station. There's no boy, the station's closed, and he is standing behind the building, and they sort of play a peekaboo. Anne's theme. She looks, and Matthew peeks from behind the station, and they peek back and forth. And finally, he decides to walk over. And she says, "I suppose you're Mr. Matthew Cuthbert, and I'm so relieved that you have come for me. I fear an error has been made, and I was not expecting you." "Well, if you are Mr. Matthew Cuthbert, I assure you there has been no error made. Mrs. Spencer said you'd come for me." "Well, I expected our new helper to arrive here at the station. Here, I'll take your bag." "I will bring my bag and follow you." "I'm sorry I was late. Just come. The horse is in the yard." "Giddy up." So they start on their way back to Green Gables in the buggy. "See that cherry tree right over there? So tell me, what on earth does it remind you of, Matthew?" "Well, I don't really know." "Well, I see a snow-white bride, of course. This is the bloomiest place I've ever seen." And they continue on. "Mr. Cuthbert, Mr. Cuthbert, what's this magnificent place we're in?" "Well, folks around here call it the Avenue." "Oh, I don't think that name does it justice. I think I shall call it the White Way of Delight." "Mr. Cuthbert, Mr. Cuthbert, what's that beautiful body of water over there?" "Well, now, we call that Barry's Pond." "I don't think that name does it justice either. I think I shall call it, let me see, the Lake of Shining Waters. Oh, I love it here already. It's making my imagination run wild." And she goes into a bit of a little trance, a fantasy, and she thinks that the animals and the trees and everyone is greeting her. So she calls out, "Hello, hello, hello." And she sees little heads peeking out from among the flowers and the trees. And they say, "Look, over there." Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Little Anne, precious Anne, you're the one we've waited for. Well, hello, hello, how do you do? We have been waiting so long for you. At last the sun is full of cheer. We welcome you, we're so glad you're here. Well, hello, hello, and how do you do? We'd give it up ever seeing you. Now we are blooming just from your coming. Hello, hello, and they dance with her. Well, hello, hello, and how do you do?
we'd given up ever seeing you. Now we are blooming just from your coming. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, this is my dream. This is my dream. Is it true? Am I sleeping? I've pinched myself black and blue. Guess I'm really awake now. You welcome me here like you've waited forever. Well, here I am. I'm your Anne. How do you do? This is my dream. Is it true? Am I sleeping? I've pinched myself black and blue. Guess I'm really awake now. You've welcomed me here like you've waited forever. Well, here I am. I'm your Anne. How do you do this time, this day? New start, new way. So come what may, at last a home, a brand new chance in life, a family, family. Anne, are you all right? Oh yes, I'm fine. Well, yonder, over there, is Green Gables. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, my dream has truly come true. Green Gables looks like a fairy tale cottage in a storybook land, and to think it's going to be my home. Oh, this is the most wonderful thing that has ever happened to me. Well, now, I hope so. Matthew Cuthbert, who's that? That was Marilla. Old Anne, all that I wanted was to live there. Where's the boy you were supposed to pick up? There where my young soul might thrive. There wasn't any boy, there was only her. All that I needed was to stay there. No boy, but we sent word for a boy to wake up each morning alive. No boy, but we sent word to Mrs. Spencer for a boy. Now I find out they don't want me. Seems that they wanted a boy, a boy, a boy, a boy, a boy, a boy, a boy. Oh, Marilla and young Anne. Well, there's no need to cry now, though there's been a grave mistake. You'd cry too if you had found a home and learned they didn't want you 'cause you weren't a boy. A girl was never an option. We need a boy with some strength. But I would work so hard you'd be delighted. You'd count your lucky stars for this mistake. Please just let me stay. I'll do what you say. You can never do what a boy can do. And by the way, what is your name? Cordelia. 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 Would you call me Cordelia? Like the voices, what voices? Like the voices of sweet angels. Sweet angels? Cordelia, Cordelia, would you call me Cordelia? It's so special, but is it your name? Well, it fits her to a T. That was Matthew. All my years I had dreamed my name could be elegant. Matthew, elegant. I'd be like a grand lady, refined and sure. Vain conceit is no virtue. If Cordelia were my name, I'd be a debutante. A debutante. with a line of young suitors all at my door. First comes pride, then you stumble, so it's best to be humble. Cordelia, but is that your name? Oh, what's the harm in, but is it your name? But it's so thrilling, but is it your name? Well, it makes her feel so special. If it's not your name, what is then? Anne Shirley, Anne Shirley. Oh, but it's boring. Oh, fiddlesticks, unromantic, ridiculous. It sounds beautiful to me. Everything's beautiful to you. We're kindred spirits, and I knew it from the start. So if you call me Anne, I will call you Anne. Spell it with an E, whatever. It sings like a song, like a song, like a song. So if you are gonna call me Anne, I would be thrilled if you would spell it with an E. For when it's spelled with E, it's a romantic name. I love it with an E. Well then, Anne, A-N-N-E, how did this mess come to be? Mrs. Spencer sent word for a girl about my age. Matron thought that I might do. Well, we'll face it tomorrow. Just come, I'll put you to bed. Matthew Cuthbert, you wait here. I want to talk to you. I didn't have the heart. You didn't have the heart? For what? I didn't have the heart. You didn't have the heart? For what? I didn't have the heart to tell her that an error had been made. What a pickle! What a pickle! Now we're all in a pickle. This girl just cannot. She just cannot. This girl cannot stay. But she's such a little thing. What'd be the harm to let her stay? Matthew Cuthbert, you're crazy. Matthew Cuthbert, you're crazy. Matthew Cuthbert, you're crazy. What good could she be? Good could she be? She's no good for us. But Marilla, it might be that we could be some good to her. The next morning, Marilla's taking her back to Mrs. Spencer's. Do you know that I have made my mind up to enjoy this ride no matter what's at stake? Well, it will end at Mrs. Spencer's when we write this dread mistake. Well, are we going across the lake of shining waters through the white way of delight? No, and since you're bent on talking, just tell me about yourself. Well, there is not a lot to tell, but my imagination tells the story well. I have no interest in stories. Just give me the bald facts and begin at the beginning. My birth was in the month of March some 13 years ago. My mother and my father were both teachers in high school. They fell in love and married, and they birthed me in the spring. We lived in a weeny teeny house. We were poor as anything, but they were happy as can be, loved me tenderly. Then the fever struck and they were gone, and I was orphaned and alone. I was 3 months old. Miss Thomas lived next door to us and saved me as a babe. But her husband was a drinking man. He fell beneath a train. Miss Thomas could not keep me, so Miss Hammond took me in. Since I was handy with the children, her 3 sets of twins. But only dreams kept me alive. Mr. Hammond died. Mrs. Hammond could no longer stay. She sent me to the orphanage that day. I was 9 years old. Well, did you ever go to school? A little, I suppose. Well, can you read and can you write? I read and write a mite. Well, can you cook and can you sew? Unfortunately, no. Well, tell me, what then do you know? I haven't much to show, but I know lots of poetry, prose, and melodies. But all I want's a home and family from which I'll never dare to roam. Well, tell me about your early years. Mrs. Thomas said nobody wanted me, but she would try to raise me up by hand. I would dread when Mr. Thomas drank. He became a raging man. Mrs. Hammond found it hard to smile. She cleaned while I took care of all her twins. She said that she couldn't keep me. It would have to end. Did Mrs. Hammond treat you fair? I'm sure she meant to care. Did you have food and clothes to wear? I got what she could spare. Did Mrs. Hammond work you hard? I tried to do my share. Was Mrs. Hammond good to you? I'm sure she meant to be. And when she really meant to be, it was not so bad. When she wasn't always quite so good, because she would have if she could. She is quite a lovely girl, though her tongue runs in a whirl. Well, I suppose she could be trained to be more still. And they arrive at Mrs. Spencer's house. Oh, good morning, Anne and Marilla. You're the last ones I expected. Welcome to my home. Dear Marilla, you're looking lovely, and you look a little peaked. Won't you both come in? We chose a boy. You made this mistake. You sent a girl. Will you exchange her? Oh, I'm sorry for all this trouble, but I'll right the situation. In fact, it may be providence. Mrs. Blewett has a large family, and she needs someone to help her, and would be just right. Oh, I'm so grateful that you're willing to find a home for Anne, but I have heard of Mrs. Peter Blewett and her 3 sets of twins. I just think I'll take Anne back to Green Gables with me, and if we make a decision not to keep her, I'll return her to you. Oh, Miss Cuthbert, did you really say that I could stay with you? Did I imagine it? Yes, you did hear me say that. I said that and no more. Giddy up. And Matthew's been waiting at home all this time, watching and hoping. I have lived my life for 60 years, working every day, never leaving here, just the 2 of us, Marilla and me. We are all that's left of our family. Now this little girl touched my heart awake. Was it providence or some dread mistake? When she came to us, I thought it'd be that we'd become a real family. She came into our lives just for a moment, making me dream of what our lives could be. She brought her sweetness, she brought her laughter, a joy, a hope that I had never seen. Will she be sent away or brought back here? Oh, I hope Marilla will see things clear. She may be our gift, our treasured key to unlock for us a family. She would be loved, she would be safe, and we'd be a family.
Oh, Marilla, you're home. I didn't hear the carriage pull up. I suppose you sent Anne back. When she told me her true history, I was shocked by her hurtful story. Such a loveless life, such a hopeless life, such a friendless life filled with grief and strife. Her destiny, her joie de vivre, was to have her own family. Then we came to Mrs. Spencer's place. She was willing to right the mistake. It was Providence. Anne would help her friend, Mrs. Peter Blewett, her 3 sets of twins. Anne was trembling, face awash with tears. Mrs. Blewett glared, even more severe. Guess what I did? I brought Anne back here. Wonderful! I wouldn't give a dog I hated to that awful woman. I know you made the right decision. Well, last night I took notice. You threw your clothes around. I can't have that in my house. Clean neatness must abound. I was so sick in my heart last night that I couldn't think about my clothes at all. But tonight you'll find I'm very neat. I'll fold them and put them in the drawer. Well, it's time for your prayers now. We've reached the end of day. God wants all his children to kneel and pray. But I have never ever said a prayer, and I have no idea as to what to say. But I'll do my best to say it right, and I'll try it straight away. Gracious Heavenly Father. That's the way the ministers say it in church, I think. Thank you for the lake of shining waters, and for Bonnie and the Snow White Bride, of course. Thank you for the white way of delight. I'm grateful, but that's all that I can thank you for. But please, let me stay at Green Gables, and please, make me be good looking. I remain respectfully yours, and Shirley. That child's nearly a heathen.
I must teach her God's ways. So the next morning she gives her her first lesson. Consider the ravens. They sow not, nor reap. They just store up no treasure, but God's watchful eye does keep. And if God cares for them in such marvelous ways, how much more will He care for you and supply your every need? And consider the lily. They toil not, nor spin. They just bask in God's sunshine, and they just drink in His rain. And if God cares for them in such marvelous ways, how much more will He care for you and supply your every need? Every day. So don't worry about tomorrow, for you are His child, and nothing from you He ever will withhold. He supplies your every need. Every day He supplies your every need. Every day.
Oh, Marilla, I just love it here. All the animals are now my friends.
Stop your incessant chatter. Just run outside and play. Now, Mrs. Rachel Lynde has never met her. It's been 2 weeks she's been here. She's been ill, and she's come out her first day to meet the new young lady who is at Matthew and Marilla's house.
My dear Rachel, I'm happy. You've come to see our young sprite. It's too bad that such a mistake transpired for you. Pity's sake, why don't you just take her back where she belongs? Oh, you see, Matthew adores her. She's made our home so bright. You've taken much on to chew, responsibility to experience raising a child you have none. Though I've never tried, never raised a child, but this child is so special. She needs a chance at life. Oh, Marilla, I was in the orchard and the blossoms looked just like a Snow White bride. Snow White bride indeed, must you always dream when your mind's topsy-turvy. 'Twill bring you grief and strife. But Marilla, the enchanted lilies by the lake of shining waters, what a sight! Red hair, freckles, skinny, scrawny, homely, ugly, gangly, dauncy. How did you ever get her? Lawful heart, who could have chose her? Come here, let me see you closer. Maybe you'll look better. Well, she came, but not the way she expected. You have nerve to criticize my looks and make me feel so horrible you make me tear.
Well, I know my hair's an awful red, and I am skin and bones, but I so love it here. You're so rude and oh so impolite. Did no one ever teach you how to be sincere? I have waited for a family, and with your crushing words you take them all from me. You're despicable and so abominable. You're wicked, horrible, and harsh. Such words that spew from her mouth, no telling how she'll turn out. But I have nothing but fear for you, Marilla. And your tongue has disgraced me. She's so rude, so cruel, so impolite. Her past you don't know about. Her tongue's a danger, no doubt. Why don't you take her back where she belongs? And tell Rachel you're sorry. I shall never, ever apologize. And you've utterly shamed me. You've crushed my guest and my friend. And your words were disgraceful. Your tongue will meet a bad end. Marilla, I pity you. Seems you've adopted a shrew. And I shall never come back to this house. Anne runs to her room. Rachel runs out the door. Everybody splits in all directions now. Anne, you flew into a fury. So rude to Mrs. Lynde. Mrs. Lynde was also rude to me. She called me skin and bones and ugly to my face. Though I know she's outspoken, she's still my dearest friend. I can never apologize. In fact, to ask forgiveness would be a disgrace. Well, perhaps in the morning you'll find the grace to try to make amends. Until you agree to apologize to Mrs. Lynde, you shall not leave this room. So she's there a day and a night and another day. And Matthew sneaks up the stairs. And tell me how you are. Okay. It's awful lonesome without you. Oh, it's so lonesome without you too. You're my precious little girl. I know. And please, you have to try to make amends with Mrs. Lynde. But Mrs. Lynde is not my friend. Well, it's gonna have to be, but I'm not even really sorry. Marilla will not let this end, so please do this for me, my precious friend. No one ever has to know. Tell Marilla you will go and make amends with Mrs. Lynde. And this will end. Just for you, I will do anything you ask me to. Marilla, I'm ready to go apologize to Mrs. Lynde. I could never express all my sorrow that I've behaved like this, that I've disgraced my friends, the ones who took me in to stay, the ones who showed me a new way. My heart is so extremely sorry. I'm such a dreadful girl and such a wicked girl. to let my tongue strike as it may. My fate should be to be cast away. But if you will forgive my contrite heart will ease, my sorrow turn to laughter. Please have patience with me. I beg you to forgive the hateful words I said. It will be my lifetime sorrow if you refuse instead. Now, when you said that I was ugly, even though it was true, it cut so deep in my heart that I raged into you, and my words were so hateful and harsh that they cut you deeply. Though they were true, I'd give anything to undo. So I beg you to forgive this humble orphan girl who's had no friends or family, not a soul in the world. But if you will forgive, your friend I'll always be. I'll be forever grateful throughout eternity, and forever I will be in the town of Avonlea with my cherished family, because your kind heart smiled at me, because your kind heart smiled at me, because your kind heart smiled at me. So Anne makes this big apology, and Mrs. Lynde is smitten. Well, Anne, you do have a way, and I forgive you today. In fact, I regret I was so hard on you. Although your hair is awful red, it may be auburn instead once you've grown. It's happened, it's true. Oh, Miss Lynde, you are my benefactor. I have hope someday I may have auburn hair. I know why you and Matthew made room to keep her with you. Although she's queer, she has certain appeal. Oh, I'm so happy to know we can put this mess behind. And 2 weeks from today, the summer picnic takes place, the perfect time for the folks to meet Anne. Oh, please, may we go? Well, I trust your behavior allows us to attend this fine affair. The picnic. Anne, come meet Mrs. Barry, but be very careful what you say. If you want Diana for a friend, Please be a lady. Welcome, dear Marilla. This must be young Anne. This is my Diana. Very glad to meet you. Would you show young Anne around? Oh, this is my first picnic. Oh, what fun! I'm so glad you've come here. Have you ever gone to school? Yes, and I was head of class. I hope I will be here. Well, I don't know if that will work. Gil Blythe has been first here. Look, there he is, over there. Who's that with Diana? Look at her red hair. I have never seen such beauty anywhere. Could she be the orphan the Cuthberts brought back home? Oh, my head is spinning. Oh, your head is spinning. This may be the thought of something. I'm in love, and I think I've met my what? Oh, never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, our next dance will be the Tales of Avonlea. Shall we dance? Shall we dance? May I please have this dance? Shall we dance? Shall we dance? May I please have this dance? I am sorry. You are sorry. She is sorry. 'Cause Diana asked me first, and the whole company dances. Gil sings. I have met a girl, my heart's a whirl. She's sweet as she can be, with a freckled nose and tiny toes. She's like a dream to me. As the music plays, she swings and sways, perfection for to see. I hope that she'll agree when I ask her to dance with me. Oh, please, may she accept my plea that she'll agree to dance with me and make my day complete. And she dances with Gil.
I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. And I think I may have met my wife. First day of school. Good morning, sir. Please meet my special friend, our new school fellow, Anne Shirley. Mr. Phillips is the teacher. He's not very happy to have her there. So I see you've come. I was west of here, from an orphanage. I had schooling there. It'd be very weak at best. I've prepared a placement test. I excelled in all my subjects there. We'll see how you fare. I am quite prepared. In a real school, I was head of school. It will be a daunting task. I take everything to task. You should not be in my class. I was always head of class. Well, you'll not be head of class in Avonlea. Oh, come on, Anne. Let's go meet the girls. And at the other corner, the boys are watching, and Gil says, come meet our new student. Look at her red hair. I have never seen such beauty anywhere. I met her at the picnic, and she danced with me. Oh, my head is spinning. Oh, your head is spinning. This may be the start of something. I'm in love, and I think I've met my what? Oh, never mind. Psst, psst, psst. Anne Shirley, over here. Look at me. Psst, psst. Well, good morning, carrots. You're ignoring me. Don't you still remember the tales of Avonlea? When we danced together and spun around the floor. Come on, my sweet carrots, how could you forget me? I am crushed forevermore. No, she hits him over the head with a slate. Wham! You have nerve to call me carrots, you insult me. Why would you make fun of my red hair? You're presumptuous and oh so arrogant to truly think that I might care. Stop, Mr. Phillips. Well, I should have known. Listen, Mr. Phillips. You're the trouble here. I pulled her red hair. You lost all your self-control, nearly knocked him out stone cold. I see red when someone twits my hair. Come with me and learn. Oh, let me take her turn. How we do things here. Let her take her chair. Now just copy after me. But it's Anne, spelled with an E. Truly A&N's complete, but without E, it's just not me. Well, the E stays off, it's A&N to me. Oh, Anne, I'm so sorry I made fun of your red hair. I was only teasing. Don't be mad forever. Will you forgive me? Can't we just be friends? And she puts her nose up and walks out and shuns him. Oh, Anne, I hated the way that Mr. Phillips treated you. Diana, he even spelled my name without an E. I can never forgive him. Well, I understand that, and I agree with you. But Gil Blythe, you shunned him. And Gilbert's never apologized to a girl before in his whole life. Apologize? The nerve of him! I can't even look at him, let alone forgive him. Something about Gil Blythe makes me livid. Called me carrots to my face, shamed me in that public place. Something about that humanoid makes me simmer.
He's so impolite and crude. Thinks he's handsome, but he's rude. Oh, Anne, he acts like that with all the girls. He loves to tease, he meant no harm. Well, just last week he said I was a crow. He's such a fellow. Well, something about that hominid makes my blood boil. He has cut me to the core, and I'll hate him evermore. Something about that Neanderthal makes me furious. I can never be consoled. You can never be consoled. No, the iron is in my soul. The iron is in your soul? I will live my life to hate that Gilbert Blythe. Oh, Anne, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Someday you may have deep regrets. He's awfully sorry that he hurt you so. He's quite a fellow. Well, it's a little late for apologies. If he'd thought of that before, we'd be jolly friends for sure. I guess it's just our fate to be enemies. I can never be consoled. You can never be consoled. No, the iron is in my soul. The iron is in your soul. I will live my life to hate that Gilbert Blythe. Oh, but Anne, Gilbert's never apologized to a girl before in his whole life. T for two, two for tea. Oh, how lovely it will be. The girls are having a tea party, and Marilla has allowed them to act like young adults. Oh, good afternoon, my dear Mamselle. It is my joy that you can share this tea for two. I am enchanted to have been invited for tea. Mademoiselle Marilla has supplied us with her raspberry cordial from the church's tea. I could just simply die for her raspberry cordial. Come, dear lady, why not have a cordial while I go and slice the cake and steep the tea? I don't mind if I do. Wonderful. But different. I've never had raspberry cordial that tastes like this before. Cooking is such a responsibility. It seems to me to be to no avail. But I have a little story to tell you about a tiny mouse who fell into a pail. Would you like another cordial? Don't mind if I do. This is so wonderful. Nothing like I ever remember. Splendid. Wonderful. Anne, you said that you had a little story to tell me about a little mouse who fell into a pail. Can you tell me what kind of a sound do you think a mouse makes? Well, something like eek-a-squeak, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak. Eek-a-squeak, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak. Eek-a-squeak, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak. Tell me about the mouse. Last week Marilla was so upset, Diana. We had plum pudding and sauce for Tuesday's dinner. I was asked to store the sauce and pudding. Careful, it was covered, safe from mice that hovered, making certain it was covered tight. But I dreamed we were fireflies in the night. We were flitting through the sky till morning light. I was so consumed that I forgot to cover the sauce. A mouse jumped in and took a swim, but very sad he died that very night. That rash decision took his little life. Eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak-a-bee, eek-a-squeak-a-bee. Tell me about the mouse. Well, I meant to make confession to Marilla, but I forgot and Rachel came to dinner. Marilla brought dessert in from the kitchen. It was my plum pudding with the mousy sauce accompanying. Please don't eat ice cream, the sauce is spoiled. I was asked to cover the sauce tie, but a mouse flew in and drowned that very night. I scooped him out and buried him and blessed him with my tears. But his last swim that did him in was not as melancholy as his loss, for he inhaled Marilla's scrumptious sauce. But Diana, you must agree it was quite a romantic ending for a mouse. Diana, what's the matter with you? I feel awful dizzy. I have to go home. Oh, Diana, I never heard of company going home without their tea. Let me get it for you right away. I'll go to the kitchen and bring it in this very minute. But I have to go home. Oh, Diana, let me get you a lunch anyhow. Let me give you some fruitcake and some strawberry preserves. Why don't you lie down on the sofa for a little while and maybe you'll feel better? Where do you feel bad? I must go home. Oh, Diana, I never heard of company going home without their tea. So she takes Diana home. And she's holding her up. And they're stumbling along. Be careful, Diana. Just lean on me. I'll take care of you. Oh, be careful you don't fall. Don't stumble now. We're almost there now. And Anne talks to Mrs. Barry. Mrs. Barry, I regret your dear child's sick unto death. What's the matter with you, Diana? Where do you feel bad? She can't stand and she can't walk. I feel awful dizzy. Her stumbling tongue impedes her talk. What's that smell? She arrived for our tea. I know that smell. She was fit as she could be. I think she's drunk. When I went to sleep, the tea. This girl's had more than tea. She had raspberry cordials 3. Out! Get out, Anne Shirley, get out of my house. But Mrs. Barry, you've set my Diana drunk. Get out! But Mrs. Barry, Mrs. Diana, I don't want you to ever speak to Anne Shirley again. But Mrs. Barry, we made an oath and a promise to be faithful friends forever and ever. Mrs. Barry, get out! Mrs. Barry, Mrs. Barry. please don't take Diana from me. She's my kindred spirit, she's my bosom friend. Without her son's, her presence, my sunshine ends. My Diana, dear Diana, will you please remember me? Even though we've been torn asunder, will you love me tenderly? My Diana, my dear Diana, faithful friends will always be. Anne is now 17, getting ready to go away to college. And there's a big gala at the hotel where they're using all sorts of local talents, and they're having a dance. And all the girls are very, very excited, Anne and Diana. And everyone in town is there. The people are coming in one by one. Mrs. Lind is coming in, shaking hands with everybody, talking to everybody in the whole place. Anne and Diana enter. Are you nervous? Of course. I've recited before, but this is different. Everyone's here. There are professionals here, even an elocutionist. Do you see Gilbert Blythe there? I can't believe he'd bring that girl to this affair. And if you'd give him the slightest of smiles, he'd be with you. I don't want him with me. He's my enemy. But I suppose we could have one dance. Ladies and gentlemen, our next performer will be Anne Shirley, performing Edgar Allan Poe's Annabel Lee. Let's welcome her now. And Anne freezes. She sees Gil and Josie Pye there, and she's just frozen. Then she decides, I will perform. Many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, there lived a lovely maid named Annabel Lee. She lived to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was so deep, I and my Annabelle Lee. It was coveted by the heavenly bee. Then a cold wind blew forth and chilled my bride, and her highly born kinsmen carried her on high, and they shut her up in a tomb by the raging sea. But our love was so deep that it covered death, and although she lies cold, I can feel her breath, and our hearts and souls are one, I and my Annabelle Lee. And the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of my darling bride. And the stars never rise that I don't see her eyes, eyes brilliant, shining light. So all the night tide I lie down by the side of my life and my bride, until the morning tide awakens my eyes, and once more I arise. So we went off to Queens, Gil and I and the rest, and we spent our time competing with each other. At the end of the year, we won all the honors, then we joyfully returned to Avonlea. First morning home from school, Ann and Diana. I missed you so much when you went to Queens. You're my true best friend. Oh, Diana, I have missed you too. I never had another friend as true as you. But you'll be leaving in the fall again, and I'll still be here. Yes, I'll go to Redmond in September, but for now we'll be together every day. And did you know Gil won't be leaving here? His father's ill. No, I didn't know that. I expected he would be at Redmond in the fall with me. I don't like to say this, but I fear I'll be lost without my friend, my enemy. And she spends the afternoon with Matthew. Oh, Matthew, it's such a wondrous day. It is so bright and golden and so rich in bloom. All your mother's flowers are glorious. I'll pick a fresh bouquet for you tomorrow morning. Matthew, I don't like the way you look. You look so tired, like you've been working much too hard. Well, Ann, I've worked so hard. Can't you rest? It's only that I'm getting old. If I'd been the young boy you chose, I would have worked with you each day and every night. I'd wish that just to give you rest. I wouldn't change a thing. You've filled my life with joy and love. Oh, you've filled my life too. You're my special little girl. You're special to me too. And I'd have chosen you or all the boys in Avonlea. Really? So you best remember that. I will remember. It weren't a boy who went to Queens and won the Avery Scholarship for me and for all of Avonlea. It was you, my precious girl, and not some boy, but you, my girl. My girl I love. I will always remember that day. Matthew smiled his sweet, shy smile at me. I took the memory of that smile into my room at night. I sat by my open window, thinking of the past and dreaming of the future. Outside, the Snow Queen was mistily white in the moonshine. The frogs were singing in the marsh beyond Orchard Slope. I shall never forget the silvery beauty and fragrant calm of that night, for it was the last night before deep sorrow touched my life. And no life is ever quite the same once that cold, sanctifying touch has been laid upon it. Matthew, what's the matter? Matthew, Ann, get someone to run for the doctor. Oh, Marilla, I don't think there's anything we can do for him. Oh, Miss Lynn, you mustn't say. You can't say. Yes, Ann. Look at his face. Once you've seen that look as often as I have, you will know what it means. And as I looked down at his features, I knew that his spirit had left him, his worry replaced by a peaceable smile. And as the day melted to darkness, the old house was hushed in its silence. He lay amongst the blues of his mother's flowers. As I lingered there, grief beyond compare, I lifted my arms in despair. Father, you took my Matthew from me. Father, you've crushed this family. I searched for a home where they'd accept me as their own. Now I and Marilla are both lost and alone. Why did you take him from our lives? Father, oh, how he cared for me with gentle kindness, and I loved him tenderly. Now he sleeps so peaceful, so unaware, while my heart is breaking. Oh, this grief so much to bear. Why did you take him from our lives? Father, you took his light from me. Now I'm in darkness. What have you done to me? First you took my parents, and I wandered aimlessly. Then for just a few years, you gave me this family. Why did you take him from our lives? Father, forgive me. Father, forgive me. May thy perfect will be done. As the days after Matthew's death turned into weeks, the carefree young child that I had been at the beginning of summer became a responsible young lady with many, many duties. Marilla was much slower of step, having difficulty completing her chores. She had too many headaches, and her eyes were failing her miserably. I sat by my open window, thinking about the past, all these things, and I realized that I could not leave Marilla in the fall. I had to give to Marilla what Marilla had given to me all these years. Well, Ann, it's good to sit down, and I'm glad you'll still be around. I think it wise that you gave up on school. But I'm going to study just the same. I'm going to take my courses through the mail at home. You've learned enough for a girl. Now learn to reach for the shelves and let the men take their courses themselves. But I'm going to study these winter nights. I'm going to teach at Carmody, you know. Well, Ann, I guess you don't know. You have the Avonlea School. The trustees gave it to you just last night. Oh, Miss Lynn, tell me what happened there. I thought the trustees gave that school to Gilbert Blythe. When Gilbert heard of your plight, he saw the trustees that night and he withdrew and asked them to take you. I don't think I ought to take it. I don't want Gil Blythe to make a sacrifice for me. Well, Ann, there's naught you can say. He signed the papers today, and he'll be teaching at Carmody this fall. Gil? Ann? Gil, I want to thank you. I will always be so grateful. For what? Giving up your school for me, even though I'd been so hateful. And this is my chance, and a new beginning. After all these years, an opportunity for mending. Can we be friends now? Jolly, jolly friends now. Oh, yes. Why, yes. Let us start anew and celebrate this happy ending. I feel so joyful, I'm light as a feather. At last our friendship begins, chums forever and after. My feet are so light I could break into dancing. Yesterday's gone and today, let it begin. This is my day of days. I've waited so long, the timing must be right. You've come along. I'd lost hope this could ever be, but here we are, two chums eternally. You've made my feet to dance, my head to spin. My joy is uncontainable, my new best friend. So we start anew, the past behind. We'll move into the future joyfully, friends this time. And they dance. I feel so joyful, I'm light as a feather. At last our friendship begins, chums forever and after. My feet are so light, they could break into dancing. Yesterday's gone, and today, let it begin. This time, this day, new start our way. So come what may, two friends, two chums eternally. Jolly friends, jolly friends, jolly friends for sure. And we were meant to be good friends. Times passed and seasons changed, flowers all in bloom again, and I was now 18. Gil and I were no longer jolly friends, we were now bosom friends. I wrote my first romance with great speed. Gil and Diana made suggestions, but I paid no heed. I sent it to be published, and it came back to me, returned to sender, Diana. And I'm sure they never glanced at your romance, Gil, but you killed Reese Lennox. I liked him the best. Well, he was the villain, now he's laid to rest. You could have reformed him, and I truly liked him. Well, he's dead and he'll stay dead. Well, I wouldn't give up altogether, please. You could stage this romance here in Avonlea. Places that we go, people that we know. However, Mrs. Lynn would think that she would be the heroine. Mrs. Lynn would be the heroine. So the names must be changed. Keep on writing, but your characters must speak ordinary talk, not highfalutin Greek. And when it comes to villains, please give them a chance. And when you finish Redmond, when I finish Redmond, you'll be looking for a husband. I don't want any man you have nerve to criticize. So good riddance, Mr. Gilbert Blythe. And she storms off with Diana. Then she says to Diana, Diana, tell me honestly, did you find any faults at all in this romance? Diana hesitates. When Averill bakes the cake, it just isn't romantic. I'm just not certain if heroines should do any cooking. Oh, Diana, I will never write again. This manuscript will be locked in my trunk. Oh, Anne, I know you're hurting, but I loved your story. Would you please give me a copy? It will be my treasure. So the girls go off stage. Anne goes off, Diana stays on, and Mrs. Lynn comes and sees Diana walking on the road. Diana, I am so glad to run into you today. I know that Anne yesterday got mail. When I went down to the post, they said a letter arrived. They said it came from her publisher. Yes, Anne's romance was rejected. She'll not write another. She was distraught, so she gave me this copy for safekeeping. Well, dear, there's something's come up that could be helpful to Anne. A company's looking for a tale to represent its good name and launch its product to fame, Rolling's Reliable Baking Powder. So Diana takes the story, adds the words Rolling's Reliable Baking Powder in there, sends it off, it wins the prize and comes back, and Anne is disgusted and mortified. If you weren't my bosom friend and confidant, this friendship that we share would end today. You entrusted me, I entrusted you with my first story, and you turned it into a baking powder foray. Anne, I was sure it would give you great fame as a writer. Selling cakes and advertising baking powder, I write romances, I don't bake cakes. Ladies and gentlemen, our famous author, our own Anne Shirley, will share her baking powder tale, Averill's Cake. Let's welcome her now. And Anne refuses to say a word. So Diana and Rachel and the company have to take over for her. Anne Shirley is our famous author. This is a 4-part round. Anne Shirley is our local daughter. Anne Shirley is our famous author. Anne Shirley is our local daughter. She has writ for us a tale of true love, never ending, where Averill and Percy's love shines from the beginning. She bakes her man a cake with Rolling's Reliable Baking Powder. It seals their love. She swears she'll never use another. Anne Shirley is our famous author. Anne Shirley is our local daughter. and Shirley is our famous author, and Shirley is our local daughter. So dear ladies, listen closely to a formula that's winning, and bake your men those treats for which their hearts are yearning. Always remembering to use Rolling's reliable baking powder, for it's the winning formula that seals hearts forever after. And Shirley is our famous author, and Shirley is our local daughter, and Shirley is our famous author, and Shirley is our local daughter. Author, daughter, author. Rolling's reliable baking powder. And Anne sees Marilla folding clothes and talks to her. Dear Marilla, tell me how you're feeling. I would love to help you. Please don't work too hard. Well, the years, they have caught me, my headaches and my eyes. But you're blinder than I am. Gil Blythe's in love with you. Oh, Marilla, that's ridiculous. Diane and Gil and I are just the best of friends. Though he tries, he can't hide it. He's head over heels for you. Oh, Marilla, please don't say those things. If that is true, I just can't be alone with him. Well, you best be alerted. It's plain as plain can be. Well, you best be alerted. It's plain as plain can be. When Marilla enlightened my eyes with the truth, I could see that Gilbert wanted more than friendship. I made sure that Diana and Gil and I made three. Diana even traveled back to school with me. But one day on the bridge, waiting for Diana, Gil came up upon me alone and caught me. He had a bouquet of flowers in his hands that he'd picked, and he said, "Don't these lovely flowers remind you of picnics long ago, back on the island? Things can't go on like this. I've always loved you so. I know we both have school, but Anne, I have to know. Will you share your life with me? I will love you tenderly. Will you please agree to be my wife?" And Anne is horrified. They're on the bridge. They sing the first part. Anne sings the first section alone, runs off to the other side of the bridge. Gil sings the second section of this song, goes to the other side of the bridge, and they finish the song in a duet.
So Diana comes onto the bridge and Anne's there crying, and the two girls talk. Gil goes off with an expression on his face that is, he's white as a sheet and he's sick at heart. So what's the matter with you, my dear Anne? Why are you crying? I've made such a mess of everything. I've lost Gil's friendship and I fear I've crushed his heart. You're such an idiot if you refuse to marry him. I don't call it idiotic to refuse to marry someone that I just don't love. Oh, Anne, you fooled yourself to what love is. It's fantasy. Oh, Diana, go and leave me now. My world is tumbled in a mangled heap. I have made my choice and I will live with it without Gil Blythe in my life. So Gil never returned to his sweet Avonlea. In the summers, he worked in the city. And at college, he took on a whole new set of friends, apart from his old friends from Avonlea. It was rumored that Gil was engaged to be wed to a young girl he'd met in the city. Diana was soon to be married to Fred, and I would be alone in Avonlea. Anne's first evening back from school in Avonlea after 2 years. It's so strange to come back home again and not have my Diana waiting here for me. Well, Diana is busy. Her wedding's in July. By the way, she saw Gil in the city. She said he looked so tired. Yes, my friends told me the same thing too. But Gilbert's always worked his fingers to the bone. Well, I hope he's not ailing. He's such a lovely boy. Oh, Marilla, I am sure he's fine. He is healthy, young and strong. Well, he's been gone such a long time. 2 years he's been away. By the way, you've received a letter. It just arrived today, and the letter is from Gil. Dear Anne, I hope this letter finds you well. It has been such a long time since we've talked to one another. I know you heard the rumor that I was engaged to be married, but it isn't true. And I've never cared for anyone but you. And so one more time, I'm going to share my feelings in the hope that you will feel differently than you did 2 years ago.
I could never have imagined that I could love like this, that I could care like this, that you could tear my life apart and split my world in two. I loved you from the day I met you. I've dreamed that you'd be mine, but you just passed me by. But I must try this one last time, with the hope you'll change your mind. My one and only love, if you'd be mine tonight, if you'd be mine tomorrow,
if you'd only be mine, my one and only dream. I had no dream before, until you came and found me. Now I'm hopelessly yours. Now my world is split in two halves. There is you and there's joy. Yes, there's you and there's hope. There is you and there's light, and the other is where you are not. There's all gloom and darkness and loneliness and hopelessness and emptiness, my one and only love. If you were only mine, we'd walk the lanes and meadows together, you and I. My one and only dream, my hope, my joy, my light. Would you be mine forever, for the rest of our lives, through our seasons and our times, till the poet sees their rhymes, till the stars forget to shine. I am yours, please be mine, till the very end of time. I am yours, please be mine.
So Anne has been away for 2 weeks. When she gets back, she gets some very bad news from Marilla. And I've something to tell you. Gil Blythe is deathly ill. Are you certain? I'd heard he looked exhausted, but I never dreamed it could be ill. He's come down with the typhoid. They fear that he might die. He has a very bad case. His body's weak and run down. His fever's high. He has no strength to fight. And he lays in a coma. The doctors fear he won't last through the night. I slowly drug myself to my room. There is a book of Revelation. I read mine that bitter night. I loved Gilbert Blythe, had always loved him, but realized it too late. He would leave this world never knowing that I cared, not realizing that I had loved him too. I cowered down by my window, and I wished for the first time in my carefree young life that I could die too. Nothing was of any value without him. I had to pay the
price for my folly as a cry. Morning breaks. Gil has recovered. The fever has broken. Wonderful! Gil has recovered. The fever is broken. Fantastic! Phil has recovered. The fever is broken. Fabulous! Gil has recovered. The fever is broken. It's a miracle! Anne! Gil has recovered. The fever has broken. Gil has recovered. The fever has broken. Weeping may endure through the night, but at daybreak, the sun shines. Oh, glory, hallelujah, glory, hallelujah, hallelujah. Gil recovered, and we found our friendship again. But I wanted much more. I knew I loved him. And this new rose of love made the blossom of friendship seem pale in contrast to the color of this bloom of love discovered. Will I have a chance at love again? So Gil came by and took her walking. You know, I think the land where dreams come true is somewhere yonder, above that little valley in that blue haze. Have you ever had any unfulfilled dreams? Of course, haven't you? I have a dream that I've been dreaming. Sometimes it often seemed it could not happen. I dream of a sweet home, a hearth fire burning low, a cat, a dog, the footsteps of dear friends, and you. So I ask you one last time, will you pledge that you'll be mine? Make my dream come true and be my bride. Oh, yes! And the young couple hug one another. And over here, old Anne is writing these memoirs, and up comes old Gil. And he says, have you finished writing yet? And she says, for now. So come and walk with me. And the old couple begins the song, and the young couple sings My One and Only Love as a destiny. Come walk with me along the country lane, and hand in hand, step by step,
together.
We will renew the love we shared back then, when we were young and life was sweet, so sweet and gentle.
So take my hand and we will fly into a time where love is soft and tender,
and we'll recall the seasons of our love, from April's kiss to bitter cold days of December, and we'll discover our love once again.
Through sunny skies and days of stormy weather,
From quiet nights of candlelight
to raging passions burning bright, the seasons of our love we will remember.
we will remember. We will remember. So hold me close,
So hold me close, so very close to you,
and kiss my lips,
and whisper words so tender. Pillow my
head to be near your heart,
and the seasons of our love we will remember. Come walk with me,
come take my hand,
come walk with me.